So what happens is when we get a piece like this thrown at us and we're looking at it from a gymnastics perspective, the first thing we say is, holy crap, that's heavy. 165 pounds for 5 minutes, as many times as you can, gets heavy quickly, especially for a little guy. And if you looked at a gymnast, you'll see that they're pretty bulky up top, but they have little sticks down bottom. Wyatt right now, who's the filmer, he was about to pan down to look at my sticks. These are my legs. I mean, those are little sticks. I can't really lift much with those little twigs, but what I can do is I can get very technical. If you ever listen to Kelly Starrett talk, he'll say, I'm the weakest guy, or the weakest CrossFitter on the planet, but I can get away with a lot of stuff just because I try to get technically sound. Last night I was going through some old footage, and I was watching Greg Glassman talk about intensity versus technique, and the truth is you have to pick your battles. But when we're talking about fitness, it is all about intensity. We need to be able to perform at high levels, and if we're not pushing that threshold, we are not getting better. That doesn't mean that our technique has to suck, because unless we have technique, we cannot get away with that intensity. So we have to pick our battles, and what this does, it just opens up a moment for us to be able to say, hey, let's look at our framework of position, movement, purpose. And in this case, going back to Kelly Starrett's work, if you go to the mobility WOD, yesterday he posted a video on YouTube where, on his blog, where he talks about how are we going to get ourselves into the right positions. We're going to be receiving the bar in a very deep squat with a barbell in the front rack, which is a very upright position. How am I going to prep my position to get in there and be as efficient as I can? And then how am I going to get overhead and be able to lock out properly with 165 for reps? That gets heavy also very quick. So Kelly talks about positions. And in every movement, we have an infinite number of positions. But in this case, when we look at the workout number 3, they ask us a couple things. The barbell has to be on the ground, or the weights have to be touching the ground when we start. We have to receive the bar on our shoulders, and our hip crease has to pass below knee. I have to be able to stand up out of that hole and proceed to jerk it or get over the head anyhow and finish in a fully locked out position with our shoulders active, head through, and the barbell in line with our hips and heels. So there are a couple positions to address. A full squat, front squat, and B, an overhead position. And those positions are pretty simple. A front squat or a deep squat could be any of your splits. It could be a middle split or a pancake split. And an overhead is simply your handstand. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about how can I get from position number 1 to position number 2 in the most efficient manner possible, and how can I warm that up and prep it to make it even better. So Kelly addressed position, I'm going to try to address movement, and then you are the one that has the purpose. If you're an Olympic weightlifter and you're participating in the CrossFit Games, this will be a breeze, but you won't look at it as an Olympic weightlifting contest. You're going to look at it as a little different piece. It's a percentage of your 1 rep max. You can handle it, no problem. So you're going to look at it a little bit different. You're going to go for intensity. If you look at it from my perspective, I'm coming from a gymnastics standpoint where A, I don't work with barbells a lot, but I have been exposed to Olympic weightlifting, and I'm not very strong. I'm gonna approach it from a very technical standpoint. So that's what we need to start thinking about. What are our positions? What do we have to get into? What is the movement? What's the most efficient movement to get from point A to point B, or from position 1, 2, and 3? And who are you? Who's the athlete? What's the purpose? So hang tough, we're gonna go through this.